Hey, what is going on? Welcome back. Jack and I are happy to see you again. So I think in the last video, I showed you guys this picture of this guy with this white beard stubble, but we never actually ended up using this picture. So let's make that the first thing we do in this video. So I'm just gonna make a path generally around where his stubble is. Just pretty rough. And let's go into his head layer and let's just paste that in. And I'm going to turn the opacity on that down. And then I'm going to warp it to closer match Jack's face. And I'm going to put that on screen. And I'm going to go to my levels and just turn up the blacks so we just get those beard hairs. Let me turn down my saturation a little bit. But I just want to get it so only those beard hairs show up. And let's put a mask on that. And we'll just mask off where we don't want those hairs. So I'm going to put a new layer and clip it to our beard layer. And put that on overlay. And I'm going to paint with black, and that's going to just help fade the beard where we don't want it. So a little bit here. Alright, so we just added a little bit more to his beard, just to fill it in a little more. Now, I want to go back to this sleeve right here because so we can see on the sleeve, there's an area where the hand from the original picture is covering some of the sleeve. So we want to paint that back in so we see the bottom of the sleeve right here. I'm just going to make a new layer and I'm going to paint that sleeve in. So I'm just going to take a sample out of the sleeve. And I'm just going to paint that in. And let's add a little bit of noise to that layer so it's not so smooth. Not too much, maybe like 2. Yeah, that should be good. And just comparing our coat to the rest of Jack, I think we need to turn up the contrast a little bit. I think we just need our darks a little darker and our lights a little bit lighter. So let's go to our coat layer and I'm going to make an adjustment layer. Just going to do a levels. And I'm going to turn up the blacks a little bit. And turn up the whites a little bit. And I'm going to copy that and I'm going to put that over the sleeve as well. And just clip it to that. And I'm going to make a new layer, put it on soft light. And I'm just going to darken the area up where Jack is behind the tree. Okay, so I think next I'm just going to expand my canvas size a little bit. Right now it's at 10 inches. I think I'm going to expand it to 12. Just going to make the whole canvas a little bit wider. I just want to do that before I start laying in the background elements. And so I'm just going to move everything over a little bit. So let me just bring that to the edge. This one too, just bring it to the edge. And I don't want to see the edge of the tree right there, so I'm just going to make a new layer and just paint with black to completely cover that edge. Just so the tree totally goes to the edge and we don't see anything behind. Alright, I think that's a better size to work with. So now let's lay in the background. And the last video I had some trouble coming up with a good background image, but I think I have one now that will work. So I got this one here. And I'm just going to select right about there. I'm going to paste that in. And again, rotate it like we talked about last time. Because just having it at an angle makes it a little more interesting. And let's put it right about there. So let's make a levels adjustment on that layer. And turn up our blacks, and turn up our whites. So let's add some fog and mist to the background, because right now the background's a little too dark, so we're gonna add some mist and fog, and that'll help push it back and give us some atmosphere. Maybe this picture? Yeah, let's try this one. So we're going to select all on that. And we're going to bring that in. And put that on screen. Go to our levels. Yeah, that'll give us some nice creepy, smoky, misty atmosphere. And let's do an entire layer of white and just put it on lighten and put it at a very low opacity. And put a mask on that. And just mask it off up here. Again, that'll help push the background back a little more and give us some more misty, foggy atmosphere. And I think I want to give the whole background like a little bit of a bluish green tint to it. So I'm going to make a new layer and just pick a nice kind of bluish green color and fill that in the background. And put that on like soft light. And turn it down a bunch. Yeah, that's nice. So let's put all those background elements in a group, and we'll just call that background. And now Jack isn't alone in these woods. In fact, he's stalking his prey. Now what is his prey? His prey is going to be a little lone trick-or-treater right here. So let's add in that poor unfortunate trick-or-treater who Jack is stalking. So I'm going to grab my first image. And so our trick-or-treater is going to be wearing this bunny costume. I'm going to replace the head, but we're going to take the bunny costume for our trick-or-treater. So let's start clipping that out with the pen tool. And I'm just getting the edge of this bunny costume fairly rough. We'll go in with the channels later and get a more refined selection. And we're not going to clip out the carrot because we're going to replace that with a candy bar. Because what self-respecting trick-or-treater would want a carrot over a candy bar. Alright, so let's select that. And let's see if we can't get a better selection on the edge of that bunny costume. So let's take our lasso and just select some of these areas. And this here. And that there. We're just selecting the edge of her costume. And let's go into our channels. You know what, let's try blue. So we're going to turn up our darks. And turn up our lights. And let's see if we can't get a nice edge on that bunny costume. So we'll darken this up here. And again, darken this up. And go to Dodge on Highlights. And just lighten up that white edge. Alright, so I think that helps our edge out a little bit more. Makes it look a little bit more naturalistic. So let's merge those two layers. And copy them. And bring them in our Jack picture. Let's just stay right there for now. Right there. That'll work. So let's get our trick-or-treater's head next. And we're going to use this kid's head for our trick-or-treater. So we're going to cut this out. Alright, and let's select that. And let's see if we can't get some of these hairs on the side here. So we'll just select the top of his head with the lasso tool. Copy and paste that. And just go into our channels and see what we got. Let's try our reds. All right, so let's select that. Alright, that's not bad, but it didn't really get any hairs on the top of the head very well, but he's gonna be wearing bunny ears, so that might not be an issue. So let's just use this as is. So I'll merge those and I'll paste that in. That's funny. So we'll stick his head right about there. He looks very scared, as he should be. Jack is not one to be messed with. So let's darken these layers up a little bit, because right now they're just a little too light. So I'm going to put a levels adjustment on that layer. And I'm just going to darken him up. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to apply that to the head as well. You know what, that might be too dark for the head, so let's lighten that up a little bit more. And you know what, let's try flipping the head horizontally, just reflecting it, and see how that looks. Alright, so I just think that adds a little bit of humor and levity to our piece. So let's darken up this side of the kid's face by just painting on a soft light layer. Not too drastic, but just so that it's a little darker than the other side. And we'll go to our bunny costume and we'll do the same. Just going to darken up this whole side of the costume. This poor kid was just trying to sneak off to the woods to enjoy some of his Halloween treats, and he ran in the Stingy Jack. That's bad luck. That is just bad luck. And we still have some hair here from the original picture from the girl who was wearing this costume. So let's select this side of the costume and feather that out a little bit. Just copy that, and I'm going to flip that and use that to cover where that hair is. I have it pretty dark there, so you're not going to see much, but just want to cover that up. Maybe just put it on lighten, and that should be enough to cover the dark areas. Yeah, that should be good. Alright, so I'm going to replace the carrot in his hand with a chocolate bar. So that'll be our next step. So I'm going to cut this out. Alright, so let's select that. And let's bring that in our picture. And we'll just drop that in right over the carrot. Because what kind of trick-or-treater on Halloween would want to eat a carrot over chocolate? I would. Definitely not me. So, let's turn that off for now. And I'm just going to cut out his fingers so I can put them on top of the chocolate bar. And make sure to get this little section in the center too. So we're gonna select those, copy them and paste them. and put them right on top of the old fingers. And just copy that adjustment layer from the body so it all matches up. And then we can turn back on our chocolate bar. And so now his fingers are over the chocolate bar. A little smaller maybe. You just need it big enough so it covers the carrot. Alright, you still see a little bit of the carrot there, but we'll just get rid of that. We'll just go into liquefy. And we'll just push this carrot down a little more, just so we're sure it's covered by the candy bar. There you go. And we can just clone stamp out that finger on the candy bar. So let's make a shadow layer on top of that candy bar. And let's paint in some shadows. But the whole wrapper area needs to be darkened up, so let's put a levels adjustment on that candy bar. Just move it over so we can darken up our wrappers. I won't worry about the actual chocolate part because we'll mask that off. I'm just worried about the wrapper. That looks good for the wrapper, but the candy bar is too dark now, so we're just gonna mask that off. So it's only on the wrapper. Let's darken up this entire side over here. This entire side's a little too light. Alright, so next I think we'll put some candy in this trick-or-treat bucket. So I'm just going to select the candy bars up here. And unfortunately, there's no easy way to clip out all these little candy wrapper details. You just gotta go in with the pen tool and suffer through it, I guess. Just suck it up and clip it out. And so let's paste that in. Right up top. Scale that down a little more. And we're gonna need to mask that off, so just gotta make a path on the rim of the bucket. And we're gonna mask that off. But that candy's a little too light, so we just need to darken it up a little bit. So let's put an adjustment layer on that candy, and we'll just darken it up. Turn down the highlights. And we'll just darken the whole thing up. And let's put a big bite in the middle of his candy bar, like he's just in the middle of eating it when Stingy Jack came upon him. So let's grab this picture here. Let's use our channels to select that, because we got a lot of jagged edges here, and you don't want to pat that out if we don't have to. So let's copy our blue layer and let's just select that with the channels. It'll just make our life a lot easier. Yeah. That should be pretty good. So I'll select that and we'll bring that in. Let's see, where's our candy bar? There it is. And we're gonna flip that horizontally so it lines up a little better. Just want to get it the same width as our other candy bar. And then we can merge the two together. So let's darken that up. And we just have to tweak that hue a little bit. And I'm going to darken this side up. So I'm going to put a mask on that. I'm just going to mask that off right up until the bitten part, because that's what we want. Alright, so now I'm going to go to my candy bar layer and put a mask on that one. And we're going to mask that off right up to the bite. And we have our carrot there, so we need to get rid of that. So let's go to our body layer and we'll use the patch tool to select this carrot area. And just take the sample from right here, and it's gone. Maybe one more time. Alright, so now our candy bar has got a nice big chomp in it. And just to play on that more, let's maybe add some chocolate to his face. Like he was really enjoying that candy bar. So I'm just gonna select this little piece right here. I'll just paste that over the head layer. So let's mask that off. Okay. That's kind of funny. But I almost forgot his bunny ears. He's got a bunny costume, but I didn't add his bunny ears in yet. So let's do that. So let's grab these bunny ears from right here. And hopefully they're not too much of a pain to clip out. And again, let's use our channels to get some of the more detailed areas of the ears. Like all this fuzzy area that we really couldn't clip out realistically with the pen tool. Alright, so let's select that. And let's paste that in over our head. And we're going to need to darken that up a lot. So let's mask this part off and blend the hair together. That kid brings a whole new level to our picture. I don't know if it's a good level or a bad level, but it brings it to a whole other level. Let's bring him down a little bit though. Maybe he's too big. Alright, so let's make a new layer on top of everything and call that noise. And we're just gonna fill that with gray. So we're just gonna pick like a gray. And we're just gonna fill that entire layer. And we're gonna add some noise to that layer. Like 180-ish. Should be okay. And I'm just gonna put that on soft light. And screen that back to somewhere in the teens, probably. And that'll just put a layer of noise over everything, so it'll help unify everything a little bit. Alright, so let's go back to our tree layer and make a new layer and put that on multiply, because we have his hand here reaching over the tree, so we're going to need to paint in some shadow underneath that hand. So I'm just going to go in here with black. And just paint in that shadow. So his shadow is almost reaching for the kid as well. Sort of like Nosferatu. Alright, so now let's do some overall just color adjustments and work on more of a mood for the piece. So let's go into our color lookup and let's see if there's anything in here that we can use. That horror blue. That's kind of interesting. Let's save that and let's try another one. Foggy night. It's kind of nice, but it's too much. Although I do like that. I don't want to rely on these pre-installed color settings completely, but they're a good place to sort of jump off from. It's kind of nice. I like that. There's something to that. And let's do a levels adjustment. And go into the red channel. And let's just make all of our whites a little more blue. Yeah, that's kind of nice. Although we lose a little bit of the nice bright oranges in Jack's mouth and eyes. So maybe we put a mask on that group. And we just mask out his eyes so those stay nice and bright. Yeah, I like that. That's nice. Alright, so I think that's a good place to stop, and I'm probably going to keep working on this and make some minor adjustments here and there as far as color, and just tweaking and changing some minor details, but I don't like to bog these videos down with the minutia of all the little nitpicky things I do. I just like to show the basics from start to finish, just so you can get an idea of my workflow. So I hope you enjoyed our Halloween Stingy Jack piece, sort of a little bit of a change of pace, a little bit different from what I normally do. So happy Halloween, thank you for watching, and take care.
Hehehehe